So I understand that you had gone through your own personal journey, that there was a transformation that happened to you. So starting in 2008, what happened in 2008?
Yeah, exactly. 2008 was a rock bottom for me. And I'm sure a lot of people have been there or they might be going through it right now. So I was depressed. I was suicidal. I was physically obese at that time. I was 24 years old and I weighed 250 pounds, 250 pounds. I followed a standard American diet, as you know, very toxic diet. And it showed in my health, physically obese, but also mentally obese with really toxic thoughts. And I wanted to give up on my life. I was searching for ways to give up because I was tired of hurting. And thankfully, I never really went through with that because I kept thinking about my mom and the devastation she would have to deal with. And it kept stopping me in my tracks. So I knew I had to figure things out. So I opened up a book and I started to read one book, which led to 5 books. And I just became obsessed with understanding how the mind works and how our thoughts create our reality. And I started to get really better at my thoughts. And I took ownership and responsibility. And I believe that word responsibility is such an important word. Our greatest ability is our responsibility. And up until that point, Joy, my responsibility to life was really poor. I was blaming my genetics. I was blaming my enabling family members, my slow metabolism. I was being the victim of my history. But after taking ownership and responsibility, I stopped playing the victim card. I stopped being the victim of my history. And I started to take ownership and I became the victor of my destiny. And I started to exercise, started to eat better. I started to change my thoughts. And I went through this incredible transformation where I lost 80 pounds. I went from 34% body fat down to 6% body fat, carved out this physical transformation, a physical six pack. But the most important thing I believe I achieved was a mental six pack. And I started to really get good with your 60,000 thoughts that we have every single day. And that's what got me started in the health space. That was in 2008. I've been in the space for 13, 14 years now. And eventually I started to really understand cellular health, a lot of the things that you teach. And in 2014 is where I discovered the amazing powers, I should say, healing capabilities of these ancient healing strategies like ketosis and fasting. So I just love teaching it. I love helping people understand how amazing their body is and how capable their body is of healing itself.
Wow, that's so fantastic. I mean, the desire to live and to thrive is what drove you to figuring everything out. And you did, and you came out, like you said, a victor. And you said the mental six pack included controlling your thoughts, and that has some kind of like transformative power for you.
Absolutely, to this day. And I believe this. You could do your nutrition could be perfect. Your intermittent fasting schedule could be perfect. Your exercise routine could be perfect. But if you don't do the inner work, what I call the inner sizing, none of that will work to the point that you want it to work, because you can't heal a body that has hate and has hate for yourself, has hate for others. It's not a healing environment. But when you do the opposite and you start practicing what I call vitamin G, gratitude, the strongest vitamin in the world,
wow,
changes everything, because there's 60,000 thoughts that we have every single day, according to studies done by psychiatrists, 60,000 thoughts. And they estimate that 90% of the thoughts that we're going to have today are the same thoughts that we had yesterday. And they're typically negative thoughts. They're what's called stinking thinking thoughts. And that was me. I had stinking thinking thoughts. And I always say, if your thinking is stinking, your dreams are shrinking. Health dreams, financial dreams, relationship dreams. So I started to become aware of those 60,000 thoughts. And whenever I had a negative thought, I would change it to a positive thought. And I started to practice gratitude. And I still work on it till this day. And gratitude in particular, it's one of the greatest things that we could develop in our practice, because Dr. Joe Dispenza did all these MRI scans on people who are going through his trainings and his seminars. And he showed that through these MRI scans and these brain scans, that when somebody's in a state of gratitude, 1,200 chemical reactions take place in the body, in the brain, that are healing the body. And that's why I think it's a big component. So when you get really good at mastering your thoughts, then everything else that you're doing upgrades by default.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I've started to work on that myself, definitely. And definitely a lot of critical thoughts to my, toward myself and toward other people. I think I grew up in a very judgmental culture in China. The
Yeah.
competition is so high. There's 1 billion people that are competing with you, and the judgment between, just between everybody, it's so prevalent. So I had to reprogram my thoughts. And of course, when you're judgmental toward other people, you're very judgmental toward yourself. It just